And we start this day from the top. Let's check who are the best to attract the new audiences. Please welcome Katarina Ondrejkova, Nina Kokholm, Daniela Trastata, Karolina Schellstall.
Well done. Well done.
And the president of Prix CIRCOM, Mr. David Lowen. It's all yours.
Thank you. So much energy and enthusiasm first thing in the morning. Thank you very much indeed for dragging yourself along and no doubt ending your celebrations early. Well, the people who've really been celebrating are on my right. We have two winners from last night. One of them won 2 awards plus commended, Katarina. We have, definitely worth it. We have commended Indrastata, who has previously been a judge in the Prix and a winner as well. So that's great. And I thought it was worthwhile bringing along one of the judges who runs a region as well, just to see if we get a different point of view between somebody who has executive responsibilities and somebody who has purely creative responsibilities. So, the theme of this conference has been, we need a younger audience. Do you agree, Nina?
Yes, I do. When we look at the viewers who watch us on the old-fashioned television, they are 60 years old. So we have to find a way to attract the younger audience, because as a public service media, we have to be important to everybody in our area, and we're not if we don't have something to give to the younger audience.
But you're in the news business, and Fox News has an average audience age of 68, but it still seems to do extremely well. Do you think, Carolina, that we're getting too worried about the age of our audience? Everyone grows old. Our audience will continue to.
Well, I think we have to consider that we have the older audience and we have to take care of them and give them what they want. But as well, we have to consider, we're talking about this at the SVT, that we're sort of about to lose a whole generation of news consumers because they don't come to us. And we have to find new ways to actually reach out to them. So maybe we need to transform ourselves and our journalistic approach maybe not in the broadcasting area, but rather in the digital area, social media, online, on the websites.
Oh.
So.
Okay, and Katarina, you win 2 awards, you get great your achievement is great in creative terms. When you made those programs, were you thinking of the judges in the Prix? Were you thinking of anyone in particular in the audience? Did you have it in your mind that you have a duty to make programs for younger viewers?
First, I have to tell you honestly that I'm thinking about myself, because I want to be...
Micro?
Doesn't work? Yes? I want to be satisfied with the thing what I'm producing. I think that is the first step. And of course I'm thinking about the audience, and I can tell you, I don't think that the content is the main problem. I think that we have to respect the young viewers' habits. So we have to move our content, which is really all around the world, because it is not true that the young people don't consume the TV content. They do it, but not watching TV. So we have to focus our creativity to the social media, to address this audience with our content but not by watching TV, because they don't want to do it. They just want to watch what they want in the time which they choose by themselves. And I think that that's the maybe solution how to attract the audience. And other thing what I want to tell the audience is that Czech television 3 years ago started with the children channel. So, and it's very successful. And we were thinking about to educate our own audience from the young age, from the children. And then, and we have it, a lot of, 30% of the kids are watching Czech children channel, which is called Dečko, it's no matter. But what we lose, there are the youngster, the millennials, because they don't want watch TV. But if we produce, for example, the drama series, the comedy, we have this audience, but on their Android or iPads, and that's it.
I passed a cafe this morning on my way here to 6 youngsters. Only 2 of them wasn't looking in their screen. Yeah. The other 4 were like this. So they are looking for content. They are. So we just have to find a way to tell it to them the way they want it. We have an election this autumn, and we're working with a special project trying to have more youngsters to vote. And we have had some focus groups, and they feel that we're talking down to them. And we also have to be, when we're in the news business, I think we have to be more to the point. And we have to be aware that they want to see themselves in it. Mm.
And also I think we need to let go of power as well. We have to let go of the thought that we are the omnipotent journalists that have to tell the world that this is the way the world is. We have to actually ask the audience, what do you want us to report on? And I want to recommend the things that you're doing, the winning TV2 lorry, opening up the newsroom and actually doing something else, and letting a bit go of the journalistic power, actually. I think that's the keynote to actually reaching out in a different way. So.
Well, you're talking about reaching out, using different ways to get to a very young audience. Yeah. Is that really what we're talking about when we say a younger audience for regional television? Is it realistic to go for the teenagers? Should regional television not be focusing on trying to get, say, the 35s to 54s watching regularly? Wouldn't that be a limited but better target? Daniela?
I'm not sure about it. I have to tell you that Croatian television is unfortunately far away from deeply thinking about how to reach the audience, because this young audience, because I think we are slowly giving up, thinking that we already lost them, and that now we have to focus really on kids to get them in 10 years back. Personally, I was scanning a young audience with my nannies. I have 3 small kids, and I changed, I think, 5 very young nannies within a period of a year and a half, and I was asking them questions about how they watch television and looking what were they watching. And I realized that they were really interested in different topics that were very edgy. Editors-in-chief would say at Croatian television. They wanted to meet the people who were talking taboos. They wanted to know about things that people didn't want to talk about. And when we do documentaries, and documentary that was commended yesterday was done for the international co-production, we were thinking about international audience, and that's something that makes it extremely difficult, because it has to be clear to someone who doesn't know anything about it. And then the other thing is, let's really try to dig deep and to choose the topic that won't be as mainstream as we usually do television.
So the 4 of you would say that it is a valid objective to go for, if you like, the teenage audience.
But not
You know,
just
also-
the
but also-
teenagers.
yeah,
the-
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
but
the
that-
people who are, for example, 30 years old.
20 to 40, I would say.
Yeah.
Right, 20 to 20, we're beginning
20
to
to 40.
focus now, it's
Yeah.
20 to 40.
Yeah.
is
Or
it?
18.
Right.
18 to 40.
Okay, but
Everybody
It's a
actually.
bit.
but Nina, your example that we showed last night of you talking to camera and saying, "Come in, you've got your idea. Get in touch with us." And then we saw the woman on the bus. She wasn't a young woman.
No.
Was she the one who responded? And
Yeah. I don't know the
so
age.
you're getting through to 60 and 70-year-olds
Well, I
by your
don't know the
system.
age of those who participate in our morning meetings, but I do know what age we reach on Facebook. And we are able there to reach the younger, 18 to 40-ish. That is possible for us there. But I think we have to do a lot of experiments. We have a big street party distortion in Copenhagen now, I think. If we succeeded, I don't know how it went, we invite to different occasions, we invite young people to do the reporting for us. So we try to see it their way. And I know that they're not going to sit down and look at the evening broadcast, but maybe they'll find the material and share it with their friends, and then just get a little bit of taste of what TV2 Lorry also is. And because we can see it when we do stories about young, how do you say that, iværksættere, young people who start businesses, startups.
Yeah, entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. Yeah. You can see that hits an audience that is younger. So and male. We also have an issue with male audience. So if you try to change the topics you are addressing and try to put it out there where they are, you have a chance.
But it isn't always about the topics as well. I think it's also about the way you present it, the tone that you're using, the editing. So it's not always about the topics, it's about how you present it. Maybe you do something in the broadcasting.
The style.
Yeah, the style. And you do something else in the digital area.
We had a visit of a group of young people, and they were supposed to look at our evening show half hour. And then accidentally they came early, so they saw our 6 o'clock show, which is very short, 3 minutes, and just bam to the point. And they were like, "Hey, that's great. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that?" Because the main show was slow, and they thought we were talking down to them. Why don't you do that? And why do you have to talk in that television way? Just speak normally to us.
Just be a normal person.
Just be a normal person.
These people be normal.
So that's what we're
Katarina.
trying to do.
But it's very, very difficult. Maybe you will catch the young audience, but you will lose your main old audience if you change completely the style.
Yeah,
That's
but
very dangerous.
they won't lose it because this
I'm not
old
sure. I
lady
think
in
they'll
a
still be
bus,
there
she
in
was
the
so.
sofa watching the news. Yeah.
I think that in Denmark you can't lose it because this old lady, she was like checking emails, and then how she found out that she lost her mobile. I didn't see that picture in Zagreb often.
I mean, the next step for us is to try and experiment more. You see all the digital ways of telling stories. We've seen some great examples here where you use text and GIFs and what do I know. We have to try and experiment with that also in our television shows. And I don't think it's going to scare the other audience away.
Yeah, but talking about men as well. Here we're saying, look, the demographic that regional television has got to attract is the younger one. Are there other demographics that we're missing out on? Are we being watched by more women than men?
We are.
Yeah. You are?
Yeah. I think it's in the nature of the regional way of doing news that we are occupied with things close to daily life. So it's children care, nurseries, schools, social welfare, hospitals, and that's, to be honest, even now in 2017, that's the woman's business. So we have to work there as well. We have to look at topics that interest men. in order to have a better balance.
And
But we can see social medias, we have a better balance.
Right,
So it's possible.
Do you agree that regional television lacks men as well as women? Or, sorry, as well as young? We
Well,
don't
yes,
lack
maybe,
women.
because we are actually looking at our digital strategy now, that we are focusing on well-educated men, because we see that we have a big gap, that we're not attracting them to our news reports. So I would say yes.
It's hard to answer the question for me because I'm settled in the region. I produce my program in region, but I broadcast it in all Czech Republic. So I can't answer such a question.
Yeah, the same with me. Although when I come in the morning to the office, I realize that men usually know what were we broadcasting yesterday evening, and female colleagues, they were probably cooking lunch for the day after, so they didn't watch. I don't think we miss men.
Can I ask, I mean, we talk about demographics. After your programs are transmitted, do you get reports on the demographics? Do you read them? And do you take any notice of them?
Of course. Of course we do.
So it comes out, what, regularly, overnight, or 1 week later?
On the television side, we don't have a demographic, but we take a report from time to time, so we know what so we know.
Yes.
But of course we take it seriously, because as a public service, I think we're paid by everybody, so we have to give something to everybody. So that's why it's important to me. And I think when you look back, I guess it's always been a problem with young people not using television. And then when they got older, they got children, they got family, they came back to us. But they don't.
But not in the front of TV.
They don't anymore. No, they don't anymore. I have 2 sisters. None of them have cable TV. They just stream and they have Netflix. They don't watch television news. And I mean, they're 37 and 40.
Oh.
It's like you said, we're
Fox.
struggling against
Fox
habits.
does,
Yeah.
Because the habits are changing now, so we really need to address
So we
that.
have to follow the habits.
But also, you running your station, you look at the demographics, you get demographic reports, and you take them seriously.
Yes, we do, and we are actually having this thing that we use on our online site, that we actually can see how many pictures do we have of men and women, how many women and men are represented in our news.
The social group and age, everything. Yes.
And the digital medias, it's wonderful, because you get a second-to-second
Yes, you get a response.
picture of who's out there reading whatever you're doing. Yeah. So that's
Is there not then a danger in this, that you become so focused on the statistics that you forget to make programs which have quality? You just tend to make programs almost to deliver, as you would to advertisers, a certain audience.
no, because we're not tabloid.
No, because, you know, we are public service television, and we have to be step forward to the audience taste, because that's our rule, that we have to cultivate the audience. We are not the commercial television who are depending on the income from the ads. So we have to cultivate the viewers. So I think we have the budget to do it.
Yes, and we do have an obligation to give quality.
Yes.
And you know what? I think there's a trend right now, you can see on the digital medias, that long reads, which is quality, which is article set up with video, graphics, quotes, whatever, long reads, they're trending right now. People want to spend time if it's quality.
Katrina and Daniela.
Another thing, I'm not working in the news. That's not my business. But 2 weeks ago we had the government crisis in Czech Republic, and I gave some report. Even was from news channel, that the audience followed this government crisis on our news channel, Czech television, not on a commercial one, and everybody report about it. But if something really happened, the people are going to watch Czech television.
Yeah, that tends to be the case in the UK as well.
It's
Big,
same.
big,
It's the
big
same,
event,
I would say.
the public service broadcaster
I was
gains.
thinking about the danger that
Young
you
and
asked
old.
about, and I'm afraid that there is a danger, and I hope that we won't make this mistake, that we will really give them exactly what they want, because I'm not sure that this young audience is always, of course they want what they want, but is it always good for them? It's not us who should put the rules, but to give some guidelines, some educational points that will help them to survive in this wild world. I think that's something that we don't have to, we have to care not to forget, because this following who is watching and how many clicks and viewers we have, for me it is a little bit scary, because I think, yes, we do forget about the high quality program.
You have a good point, I would say, because the thing is that we often forget in public service that we have an educational obligation as well. And I think you have an election, we have an election as well, because we have to make sure that the people going to vote, that they are making a vote, that they have the information enough to make a good choice, a good decision.
Yeah.
So the educational part is really important as well.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Stir yourselves, come on.
It's crystal clear.
Nobody want to ask any questions? Here we are, we've got one. Carol.
Quite interesting yesterday that the keynote speaker actually mentioned that they now ignore the demographics and forget about the age groups, and they concentrate on the storytelling. And the storytelling is the thing that's selling their program. And I just wonder how much time and effort is spent in newsrooms and in boardrooms across the world worrying about this age group that we're chasing. You're throwing a bait into the water to try and attract these people, and I'm just wondering how often you're going to catch them. I think now the title of this conference is Screens, Facing New Challenges with New Screens. Most people get their news now via a phone or via their pads, and that's where you have to concentrate your effort. Get your good stories onto the internet. Concentrate on that, and I think you're going to get your audience and keep your audience, but you've got to maintain your profile on traditional television.
Okay, Carol, can you pass to Michael, then we'll take the two together.
I think Carol is right, but I also think that the demographic of the age thing is also right. I think you combine the two together. The challenge is to find stories and content that is going to be attractive to everyone. A lot of that content, but the younger age group are not following our content. It just happens that they're the younger age group, but in order to get at that group, content is going to be the key.
Okay, anybody else? Well, content is the key. I don't think we disagree with that. Content is king. It seems to,
queen. No,
it
queen.
seems
Queen.
to be.
Queen.
Just wait, okay? Content is king, but style is queen.
Okay.
And you're not going to get a younger audience or even a young audience without having both. Okay, so you're going back to your stations, to your broadcasters. One bit of advice to get a younger audience when you get back there.
Well, as I said earlier, I think we have to experiment with the way we tell the stories. We have to have good content, good stories, but we have to experiment on how we tell them.
Experimental storytelling, right.
Yeah, I would say we need to have courage to choose the right content and choose the way we present it.
Lovely.
Be courageous.
Improve the way how to move the content to the young audience.
Delivery methods,
Yeah.
right?
And I have to agree with you. I think that to be brave is the most important thing of all.
Courage.
Yeah.
Right, well, thank you very much indeed. I hope you appreciate we have 4 women on the stage today, and if we're chasing a different demographic, I think that's an improvement on yesterday. And thank them very much indeed. And the Meet the Winners meetings will go on through the day. You can hear about all the programs, all the people who made them, up in the room, just up in the corner there. So thank you very much indeed, and thank you very much indeed for getting here early.
Thank you. Thank you, Katarina, Ninna, Daniela, Carolina, and David. Thank you very much. Content is king and experience is King Kong, I would say.